Howdy, folks. Our next unit is going to be centered around the idea of style. I'm going to kind of phrase this as adding to an argument because we know the foundational elements of an argument. We know the rhetorical situation. We know theses and claims and reasons and evidences and appeals and methods of development. All of those things are still fundamentally going to be in all the arguments that we're reading and writing over this unit. However, we're going to start focusing particularly on style, what contributes to style, what adds to style, and how does style add to an argument. So we're going a little bit above and beyond just stating facts and evidences. Now we're doing it with jazz hands. All right. So our main goals for this unit is number one, explain how a writer's stylistic choices contribute to the purpose of an argument. We're going to continue to describe the reasoning, organization, and development of an argument, particularly how it pertains to style. And then we're going to understand how connecting lines of reasoning to a thesis as well as style. How does style contribute to help us understand these lines of reasoning? So first off, we've got to understand just straight up what is style. So it's not what is being said, but it's really how it's being said. The writer's ultimately the one that's making all of the rhetorical choices. You get to choose your thesis and your evidence, but you also get to choose the words you use and the tone you take towards your subject, and even the order in which that you put your words. That all matters, right? And as you grow in your writing ability, you're going to start to develop your own personal sense of style, just in the sense that, like, Mr. Restad likes plaid t-shirts, and cool indie chick over here loves cameras and hats and backpacks, and I think that totally works for her. I don't think it would work for me. I don't think I could rock a hat like that. Style is different. I couldn't just adopt someone else's style of writing and be like, this is mine now. There's an element of personality in each one of these. Style also really helps us connect to both emotion and credibility, right? We can see how style might make us seem more formal, more professional. And we can also see how style and word choice is really going to connect to the emotion that our audience is experiencing. So some keywords that you're going to want to write down and make sure you have a working understanding for the rest of this unit are tone, parallel structure, repetition, figurative language, syntax, diction, and there's a few more. Basically, any of these figurative language ideas, these English vocab words that we haven't talked about a whole bunch in this class, are hopefully going to come into play in this style unit. So the first element of style that we're going to look at is the idea of tone. And tone is important in our AP rhetorical analysis situation, both on our essay as well as on our multiple choice test. In 2004, the chief reader for the grading session, because they grade all the AP tests at once, if you didn't know that, he said teachers should teach tone, always asking students to show how it is achieved and how it contributes to an overall effect. That seems pretty important coming from the person who organizes all of the AP grading. So tone is going to be kind of critical, and we've talked about it before in terms of like Space Cat. The CAT is choices, appeals, and tone. Tone is one of those big ones that Space Cat reminds us in our rhetorical analysis, be like, oh yeah, I should analyze this. So what tone is just an author's attitude towards their subject. Not to be confused with the mood of a piece of writing or even an author's voice. Is strictly just the tone that I take in regards to whatever it is I'm writing about. Think about your parents, right? Your parents take certain tones with you depending on how they're feeling towards you, right? They could be laudatory, or it could be really angry and upset. Doesn't mean their love for you has changed at all, but it's just their attitude at that time. And the things that affect tone are going to be all sorts of these. So we're looking at tone first because it's kind of the big one that a bunch of different things are going to contribute to and affect. So diction, syntax, figurative language, imagery and details, all of these choices that an author can make helps contribute to tone, helps contribute to the overall effect of a piece. So if we want to look at a small example of tone and how important word choice is, even in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 word poem, take a look at this one. You fit into me like a hook into an eye, a fish hook, an open eye. Pretty powerful, right? Um, this is a poem by Margaret Atwood, who is just phenomenal. She wrote The Handmaid's Tale, if you've seen that on, like, I think it's on Hulu or something like that. Um, but, the choices that she makes in such a small space of words really turns the tone around, like this uh, critical, hostile tone of one of like regret and maybe even a tone of blaming, like you did this to me. How could you do that? And the fact that she can almost get like a tone shift in the first two lines, like you fit into me. This sounds like it's going to be a love poem, right? You fit into me, and then we get a little bit like, well, this is a strange analogy, like a hook into an eye, because I can think, a hook and eye clasp where, this goes into that, and it's like something that keeps your shirt on or a coat on. And then these last two, like the imagery she's chosen, the figurative language she's chosen, the words she's chosen, just nail this tonal shift. So tone's important. Tone changes things. Tone changes the meaning of a poem. Okay, so when we're describing tone, again, words matter. Words matter, and I've got a link here to um, give you guys a whole bunch of ideas. If this will open, probably won't. There it is. Oh no, that just went back to the beginning. Let's see if this opens up. Oh no. Okay, that just goes back to a different slide. I'll make sure that link is working. Uh, but tone matters, right? Sad versus melancholy versus anguished. Take a look at these just list of words. There's a big difference in kind of the vision, the connotation of those words that we get. So if I hear something, oh, that's sad, I really think of like, maybe it's because I have a 2-year-old daughter right now, but I think of like, I'm sad. I don't get to play with my llama toy, right? That's sad to me. Versus melancholy. Melancholy seems like this much deeper depression. That's beyond just, you know, young child elementary sadness because they don't get a toy. Melancholy seems like, oh man, there's some serious depression going on. And then we get into anguish, and this is like full on Magic the Gathering card art, anguish, darkness going on, right? So the image you can evoke through your word choice, the tone you can take through your word choice is really, really important. So as you are reading, as you are writing, make sure you are really critically analyzing what words are being used and why. I do have a link. Let's see if this one works for you guys to practice this. So if you're not in class today, load this up. Okay, yes, it's me. There's a brief tone practice quiz that I'd love for you to take. It's like 5 questions. It asks you to read a tiny little passage and then tell me, what is the tone of this passage? And it gets kind of progressively harder as you guys go on. So the first couple will be a little bit easy, but give that a shot before you move on. And then I want you also today to think about finding your own tone in writing. So to help you figure out, okay, what attitude am I actually taking for this topic? Obviously, your personal feelings towards the topic is gonna matter. But remember, if we're being true rhetoricians, rhetorical writers, let's just say that, rhetoricians, I think it's rhetoricians. You not just need to be thinking, okay, what's my exigence for writing this piece, but what's the audience? Who am I writing to, and what type of tone do they need to hear? So sometimes I might just be so furious with something, and I just need to I feel like I need to scream it at people, but is that going to be the best way to convince them of something, right? I need to use effective language at getting into the heads of my audience. So maybe it's not, maybe they need to know I'm angry, but maybe I don't need to scream at them. So figure out, whenever you're writing an article or writing anything, why am I writing this? Who am I writing it for? And what do I want the reader to learn or understand or think about? How does my tone fit into that? How does my tone towards this subject help them learn or understand? Or what tone would be best? So we're going to practice this. And I actually want you to do this. I want you to pick a subject and an attitude from each column, and you can do it. You get to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. If we were in class, I'd make you roll a dice, and that would be your subject and your attitude. But choose one. So, like, I'm going to pick social media and mournful. So I've got to write about social media in a mournful way and figure out how to make that work. And obviously, you wouldn't be picking your tone at random, but this is just good practice to think through what type of tone am I going for and how do I achieve that. So for 8 minutes, I want you to pause this slide, pick a subject and attitude, and write. Okay. Hopefully you did that. Last slide today is just a little bit of reflection. So I want you to go back and try to do it without your notes first. Think about what is style, what makes up style, what is tone, what affects tone, and how do all of these relate to rhetoric. See if you can jot ideas down there for 2 to 3 minutes, and then go back in your notes and check them. All right. Good luck, folks.